Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren.
And I'm Lisa.
And this is your
Behavior Tip of the Week.
Our topic for today is bridging academics with behavior. So, before we get started, I want you to stop and think. Have you ever heard this before? I can't teach academics until I get the behavior under control.
I hear it all the time.
Absolutely. So, let's talk a little bit about that.
So when we talk about bridging academics with behavior, academics and behavior, guys, are not separate entities. They don't exist separate from each other, okay? Behavior is impacted by the environment. So academic instruction, general things that are happening in the classroom, and social factors are major environmental variables in a classroom environment, and therefore they affect behavior. It's not possible to think of these things as separate because they are both happening at the same time. It's not like, oh, this is academic time and this is behavior time.
Right.
It all happens together. Our behavior is happening all day long. It's everything that we do. So it's impacted by whatever is happening in the classroom at that time. So when you look at this little visual and you see this academic and behavior connection, you'll see that when there's academic achievement happening during instructional time, and when there's more time on task, we're going to see that green arrow go up and our behavior problems are going to go down. So on the red arrow, we see when that stuff is happening, our behavior problems, our office discipline referrals, suspensions, and also those manifestation determinations that are not so fun to have are things that are going to decrease. So we want to be having more time of engagement and academics happening in the classroom in order to help with behavior.
So important. So let's take a look at shifting that perspective. So yes, we do need to teach behavioral expectations explicitly, right? I'm sure you've heard us say that again and again. We need to provide those opportunities for practice. We teach behavior. We need to teach that and have time to practice that before we're putting those high level task demands in place. However, there's got to be something else going on while we're teaching those things. So consider things like rotations. When you're doing rotations, you can have activities in those rotations that are fun and engaging. Maybe they're easy for the kids, or even just something simple that they already know how to do. But while you're doing those rotations, you're teaching them how to rotate from place to place. You're teaching them how to stay in their rotation, right? So yes, I'm teaching that behavioral expectation of being in rotations, but I can't just expect them to sit there with nothing to do. They need to be engaged. They need to have something going on. And then also consider in your whole group time, do a read aloud of something that your kids are interested in, right? So it'll bring in their attention. You've got their focus, but at the same time, you're reinforcing them for staying seated, for having quiet, for being quiet, for keeping their hands to themselves. And that is, I'm teaching the expectations of what you should be doing in this whole group read aloud time, but I'm doing it with something that's interesting and engaging to keep their attention. This shift that you're thinking about represents an investment that you're making in your classroom. So you're spending that time teaching those behavioral expectations while engaging them. And in the return, you're going to get back more of your instructional time.
Absolutely. So it's really important to remember, yes, you have to get behaviors under control. And you have to teach those expectations explicitly, but we have to be doing something while we do that. So it's, again, not separate, together. So just a shift in perspective that we wanted to bring you today in this behavior tip of the week.
All right. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.